Okay, so we have our two parabolas again. I've changed one of them up a little bit, but if I take a look at the equations, x squared plus 4x plus 6, and let me come over here and turn this one on and this one off for a minute, negative 2x squared plus 6x minus 1, and graph those, you should be able to predict this one is going to open up because the a is greater than 0. This one is going to open down because the a is less than 0. So from here, in last video, we showed that the vertex for this equation was at negative 2, 2. And we used the formula negative b over 2a was my x, and then to find y, we just plugged in that negative b over 2a into the function and came up with some number. That's how we got negative 2 over 2, or negative 2, 2. There is something called a vertex form, and it's just another way to write a parabola, and actually it gives you a little bit more information about the parabola when it's in this form. This is the form for it. Y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. So for mine, y equals the a is still this a up here, 1, times x minus the h is actually the x part of the vertex. The reason we don't call it x is because it's going to get too confusing in here with two x's, x minus x. So we call it h. And our h happens to be the number negative 2. For y, or this k value, that's actually the y. And again, it would be too confusing if we called this y and had a y sitting out here. So we call it k. And our k happens to be the positive 2. So our equation y equals 1 times x plus 2 squared plus 2. If I were to completely FOIL x plus 2 times x plus 2 out and then add 2, I would get back this same equation. And that's one way to check it. Another way to check it is to go into your equation editor here. I've already got this one typed in standard form. I'm going to turn that second one off. Come down here, turn this one on. This was my answer, x plus 2 squared plus 2. If I did it right, I should only see one parabola on my screen. You see, it's thinking about it, and it's rewriting it over the top of it. It posted both of those parabolas, one sitting right on top of the other one, though. That means those two equations are the same. All I did was rewrite it. So I can do the same thing with this function over here, this graph. So I have a, b, and c. We know that the parabola opens downward, so I'm going to have a maximum point. All right, so for this one, y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. I need to figure out the h, which is my formula negative b over 2a. So a negative 6 over 2 times negative 2. Negative 6 over negative 4, or 3/2. To find k, I plug in the 3/2 back in for x, and get the y value out, or we call it now k. All right, and then you can either do it by hand or use your calculator. Whoops. Let's get out of here. Just type in negative 2, parentheses 3, divide by 2, and then plus 6, minus 1. Okay, so I get 3.5. I can convert that to a fraction, 7/2. I want to keep these both as fractions. I don't want to have a fraction and a decimal in the same problem. It's like speaking Spanish and French all in one happy sentence. So my a this time, though, is negative 2. So that goes out in front. X minus 3/2 squared plus 7/2. So now if I take my calculator and go back and just do a double check. Right, so that was my original. I'm going to actually clear that one out and type in -2 x minus 3/2 squared plus 7/2. And if this worked out right, I should see two parabolas that open downward, one right on top of the other one. And that's what I see.